Yo peeps, just realized that I missed a couple of points that I wanted to share with you in relation to the resource-based economy issue, the Venus Project, Jack Fresco. And it's essentially the negative attitude, the dangerous attitude of, once again, objectivists. When people ask me what's my issue, what's my beef with objectivism, I can only tell them, I don't have a beef. I have several points that some people think it's outside of the theory itself, but I don't really care if it's inside the theory or it's outside the theory. It's in the objectivist world. It's in the objectivist phenomenon. It's in the objectivist mindset, mentality. That's what really affects us all, isn't it? It's the practical effects, the practical interpretations of the theory, and how those people effectively are, at least the majority of them, the people that have been driving the objectivist movement. And, for instance, God, it really pisses me off. I've heard several times Aaron, which is one of my favorite libertarians on YouTube, and I will be posting his channel in the video description box of this video for you to be able to check him out and subscribe. I highly recommend it. But what I'm trying to say is, objectivists use low-life tactics in their debates. And this is a fact. It's not an interpretation or anything. For instance, in that video that I shared with you about called the most important video you'll ever see about arithmetics, about understanding or the failure to understand the exponential function as probably the humanity's most dramatic misachievement. And I've seen lots and lots and lots of comments left on that video that totally did not address the concerns that were the content, the subject of the video, and all they could say was stuff like, these guys are anti-progress. So this is a tactic, a low tactic of psychological bullying, psychological intimidation, where these guys that call themselves objectivists and Ayn Rand fans try to shut other people up by appealing to them being anti-progress. When it's totally not true. Not true. There are things that you can't ignore in the world. There are problems. There are problems with your brand of capitalism. There are problems of unsustainability. There are problems. You have to acknowledge these problems. It's not by ignoring that you are having constant growth in the face of a limited resource that things are going to get better, and that you'll be always ahead of the curve, be able to always find more oil or more coal or more gas as production and consumption augments. You won't. You won't. You have to address this from a sustainability point of view. And us people that are aiming and are promoting a sustainable lifestyle, sustainable choices, renewable energies and stuff like that, not for the carbon pollution, but for pollution itself, for the effective pollutants that are in there, for the immorality of betting in unsustainable systems of production when you already have the technological means and the scientific knowledge to move civilization in a sustainable manner. How can you incentivize greed as the motor of civilization? How can you? Now, I tell you about this because I fear that my last video, in which I tried to promote, to do a shout-out on the Venus Project and on the resource-based economy, I know, because I've seen lots of comments by objectivists, even in objectivist forums. And I will even try to find a comment and read it to you, for you to see why I don't like objectivists in general. Wait a minute. So, okay, I found the comment, and I'm going to read it to you. You can, of course, take your conclusions, love it or hate it. I personally hate this kind of frame of mind. It's really low to me. But okay, that's that. I don't want to poison the well. Okay, so forget what I said. Let's just read the comment. It's about the Venus Project, and in objectivism online forum. That's a forum. That's an objectivist forum. Okay. So this guy called Clockwork says the following about the film. The film has good points and bad points, but the Project Venus part was crazy. The film that he's referring to is not the Future by Design documentary. It's the Zeitgeist Addendum. So there is a part that has nothing to do with the Venus Project, and then a part about the Venus Project. He's talking about the part of the Venus Project. So, the film has good points and bad points, but the Project Venus part, it was crazy. I smiled when they explained Project Venus. It's a pie-in-the-sky dream that isn't tied down to reality. It's an enormous blank out. Who is going to build this huge city with its state-of-the-art transportation? Who is going to provide maintenance to it when things go wrong and break down? Who is going to manufacture the parts that are used? Who is going to design it? Who has input to design it? If someone wants to have something that not everyone can have, such as lavish, expensive suit, then how will he be able to get it? He won't. The Project Venus guy talks about putting a pendulum in cars to prevent drunk drivers from driving, installing radar so cars cannot hit each other, installing anti-slip pads in the roadways. Who will research, design, build, install these things? Who will run the wastewater facilities, the garbage collection, the water supply system, the landscaping, the street sweeping, the manual labor? Robots? Who will design the robots and repair them when they break? Other robots? Until he can design a machine that produces human thinking, an artificial man that humans can enslave instead of putting chains around other men, he'll be stuck putting the chains around other men and saying it's in their duty. He's struggling to envision a society where nobody can aspire, where equality reigns supreme, where everyone is mediocre and can never rise above it. And I just watched the final section of it, deepened the voice a bit, and it could have been too he. Okay, so this is what we can expect from objectivists in general. Of course, there are exceptions. First, I would say that this guy needs to watch the fucking documentary, Future by Design, because almost every question that he answered is answered in that documentary. So I can surely appreciate that since Zeitgeist Addendum doesn't give the answers to these questions, it is, of course, legitimate and responsible to raise these issues. The issue I have with this comment is not the questions that it elicits. It's the attitude, the pessimistic, the judgmental, the negative, and the defeatist attitude that it presents, because it just assumes that it's not possible. It assumes, and also judgmental, because it is giving a guy that is totally good and pure at heart, he's giving that guy these Machiavellic, these evil intentions of and putting chains around men, and where everybody is mediocre and nobody can aspire, when that is exactly the opposite of this man's dream. It's a society where people can really aspire to do things that self-actualize them, that are free from the boring manual labor, and are really free to bring out the best in them without fear of the future, without fear of starvation, without fear of everybody. Okay, I'm not going to go into this because I really think you deserve to be able to study the documentary, to pose questions and all of that, and only then form your opinion. The point is not that you should or not should live in this kind of social arrangement. It's your preference, and just as long as you have valid reasons, it's all right, I guess. The question is, should you promote it not to be implemented? Should you promote that people give up on this dream, that don't try to make this come about, to not have that sort of competition in regards to your preferred system? Do you think that is honest? Okay, so I had to say this. There's lots of reasons why I don't like objectivists, from the theory itself to the general attitude that these people have. It's a defeatist attitude, I mean, and most of these people are driven exclusively by greed. These people don't care about you. They don't. They care only about themselves. They are properly called selfish. They put their interests as the only interests that are relevant to themselves, of course. That's not the best frame of mind to bring about all that man can be. That's all I'm saying. Peace. See you in the next clip.